I think for all of us, in terms of water management, water's just really becoming front and center in the natural resource discussions, and you see that manifested in this state as probably as strongly as in any Western state. Just to give you a sense of what's going on statewide, that ecology, my agency, is involved with, we've got stormwater permit updates going on in all large to medium-sized cities. So 130, 40 cities across the state now are having to deal directly with stormwater requirements and huge costs there. Septics, upgrades to septics, Hood Canal, Puget Sound, big focus there, and a lot of funding being spent. Shoreland permit updates, upgrades to local government's planning processes on shoreland management and controls. You know very well about the critical area ordinance issues, and although ecology is not directly involved in those, water is very front and center in a lot of that discussion. We have two huge new regional initiatives that have been funded by the legislature. One along the Columbia main stem from the Okanagan on down to the Tri-Cities and below, where the legislature has put aside $200 million for the next 10 years in capital funding to do reviews of conservation possibilities, to do reviews of storage possibilities. I think we're looking at 15 different potential storage sites and trying to evaluate the availability of water there for both farms and fish. And then this legislative session, $220 million in the governor's budget for the Puget Sound partnership recommendations, and a lot of discussion going on around a regional basis. Water, salt water for the most part, but it's all fed by upland, wetlands. We have about 2/3 of the state now moving forward with watershed plans, and this county is near the front of that pack with the implementation planning discussions that are going on, where real on-the-ground sorts of improvements are being thought of and discussed and rolling into local, state, tribal discussions around water management. So watershed management at the local level is one of the main points of entry for ecology as we think about the balancing of people needs, farm needs, fish needs. So I was asked to be kind of the setup guy for some of the other speakers. You do have some good speakers coming to talk about the basics of water right management, water management in general. So what I was asked to do was to give you some background on water rights, and I'm going to do a little bit of maybe a fun thing, a learning tool, a couple of questions on a test about water use and water rights, and then get into some historic background about water rights in Washington, the challenges that we have, what's the water management problem across the state, some background there, and maybe a little insight into what's been talked about before and what people are worried about, and then some thoughts about where some opportunities might exist in terms of water management. The discussions that Catherine did a good job of sort of highlighting what processes are underway now that could take place here in Jefferson County, what might be available down the road. Just some background and setup for the other speakers that are coming. So in-stream flow laws, big part of the watershed planning process, setting and achieving in-stream flows. What do you think the in-stream flow laws say? Does it say that we need fish water in all streams? Does it say anything about future users and whether they can be regulated? Does it say anything about past users, people with existing water rights? And can those come under regulation as a result of in-stream flow laws? It certainly deals with fish water. Future users have a junior water right to the in-stream flow law. So this is the junior-senior relationship that is part of the prior appropriation doctrine. So once an in-stream flow is set, it is essentially an in-stream right, and additional rights or new rights after that date would be junior, so they would be regulated. But it doesn't have any impact in terms of the water right itself on folks that already have rights that are senior to the in-stream flow rules. So in-stream flow rules establish a water right, and there's a junior-senior relationship to the other rights in that watershed. So that was a little bit of background. In terms of challenges, you've heard about population growth. When the first prior appropriation code was established in 1917 in Washington, we had about 1.5 million people. When the last major upgrade was made to the statutes that we use, the Water Management Act of 1971, we had about 3.5 million people. A couple years, we're going to be at about double that number.